about this phrase, allude to her lashes. Through the windows of eye, to the windows of eye, the soul regards the world's beauty. The soul sees through the windows. These are the windows for the soul. And through these windows, it sees the worlds of beauty. Worlds of beauty. Now, this is a quotation from Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo. Uh, he says that through the windows of eye, the soul regards the world's beauty. Very powerful. There is something very definite about it. Very spiritual insight is there. See. Through the windows of eye, the soul regards. Regards means looks here. The world's beauty. Now, basically, what it means is that the physical beauty of Savitri, she is already a beautiful princess, royal, beautiful, dazzling, radiant, Devarupini, as Mahabharata story. She is of the form of a goddess, shining and lustrous and beautiful, Devarupini. Physical beauty here in the case of Savitri got more perfected by the power of love. It is love which has entered into it and made her physical beauty still more beautiful. Physical beauty perfected by love, it is that beauty which allures the soul from its depth to the surface. It attracts it up like that, you see, from its fathomless depth. Then her sight, Savitri's sight becomes, obviously, she is not seeing now with the physical eye, she is seeing, her sight is soul charged with soul. It is the soul which sees things now. The mystery of the eyes. In former times, it was said that the soul looks out from the eyes. The soul looks out of the eyes. And then, well, actually, you must have perhaps met and seen in the case of the mother, whenever she used to meet somebody, she used to look into the eyes, straight into the eyes. And you don't have to shut up your eyes, you should not. When she is looking, you have to allow her to look into her eyes constantly. Constantly. It is through that she enters directly into the soul. And then she sees what it is there, and all that you see. So it is through this. So while the soul while the eye is a window for the soul to look out, it is also an entrance for that sight to enter into your soul. Both things happen simultaneously. See. Then about Beatrice Dante, he speaks of her beauty in his Divine Comedy. Dante speaks of beholding in the eyes of Beatrice the reflection of the mystery of the two natures. In her eyes, he sees the reflection of the mystery of two natures, the divine nature and the human nature. He sees the mystery of the two natures through her eyes. Eyes of Beatrice, the reflection of the mystery of the two natures of the divine humanity. Naturally, therefore, to call love blind is the reverse of truth. Calling love is the reverse of truth. When it happens like this, when it happens, you are establishing through that communication, eye to eye communication, the contact of soul to soul. It becomes a channel for communication, for joining them together. So that is what we have got here. Liquid sounds spoke. Now, obviously, In a way, as we have seen earlier also, in the case of Satyavan and Savitri, they are here together just for 3 hours, one early morning, you see, and they have fallen in love immediately. So this is love at first sight. They recognize each other. Something has happened, they recognize it. Finished. It is really love at first sight. So it is a wrong way of saying they have fallen in love. The correct phrase should be they have risen in love, not fallen in love. see, see, they are risen in love actually. Yeah, exactly. So it is that, you see, they are risen in love immediately after recognizing each other who they are, you see. Basically, the power of love has awakened the soul side of Savitri. So much also in the case of Satyavan. It is the power of love that has awakened their soul side. And it is with that side they are seeing each other. It is not human Savitri, human Satyavan who are seeing each other and meeting and talking to each other. Something has happened, that alchemy has worked. And the soul got kindled, it has come out in a very glowing manner in the case of both of them, and it is that contact which is now established between the two. That is what has actually happened here. And therefore, they don't have to really speak too much now. This deed is done, finished, matter is over. You see. You see. This word alone she uttered and said all. Everything is contained in these 2 lines. Everything is contained. She need not speak more. It's all over. They understood each other. They understood the purpose of their life. They understood why they are here. Why they have met each other. They understood. They must meet each other. They understood all that at once. O Satyavan, I heard thee and I know. I know that thou and only thou art he. Savitri had been moving from place to place, as we have seen, in the quest of a life partner for several months, going from place to place, kingdoms, countries, lands, villages, temples, palaces, everywhere. She has not found anybody at all. But here in this lonely forest, they are met and she has recognized at once who he is. I know who you are. Yes, I have been looking for you in the wilderness of life, in the wilderness of this creation. I have been looking for you. And now we have met. Now, perhaps you recollect this story the mother has narrated, the sapphire tale. You have read the sapphire tale? It's a very beautiful story. Sapphire tale by the mother. There, again, it is a love story, but very sweetly narrated. I think I'll bring it next time. We can perhaps read it. Yeah. It's very beautiful. Maybe you can read it in French, the sapphire tale. Sapphire tale. Tales of long ago. The mother has narrated. Yeah. In the collected works of Mother, Volume 2. Volume 2. Volume 2. So, it is a very beautiful description. And there the mother says that whole picture which she is presenting there belongs to the overmind world. They are meeting together in the lonely forest and all that. It belongs to the overmind world. Now, this lyricism, what we hear, is something more than that, beyond that. Mother wrote at a very early stage. This description of Satyavan and Savitri, that meeting, is in a transcendent, which is kind of transcribed here is transmitted here. Then yeah, Satyavan, I heard thee and I know. How does she know now? She has not done yoga, she has not known anybody at all. Something has now awakened in her soul and it is settled. She has at once recognized who this gentleman is, who this person is, whom she is meeting. He is no more a stranger to her now. He is not a stranger now to her. Then down she came from her high caravan car. He had told her, descend, oh happiness. It was a kind of a command to her. Come down from a caravan car, from a chariot, and embrace our earth, embrace our world. You are living, floating up there, come down, descend, and live in our world. And Savitri obliges to him. Then down she came from her high caravan car, caravan car. Now this is again a phrase which is repeated quite often in Savitri. Caravan car, it appears number of places in Savitri. This is of course here 104.3. Then we have same phrase again in 105.8. Once more she mounted on the caravan car at the top. She came from her caravan car. Then in other places we have got car of light. Car of light, light, car of light. 103.71. Car of light, 103.71. He says, Satyavan says, come nearer to me from thy car of light. She is really riding a very beautiful chariot, car of light, you see. Satyavan has already recognized that, car of light, you see. Etc. There are many. Then of course there is a caravan chariot in Savitri. There is an imaginations car, imaginations car. Then high roofed car. Satyavan and Savitri, when they go back after claiming his soul back, they go to the kingdom, Salva, and there you have got 159.3. Now here he says, see, Satyavan's soul has come back, they are in the hermitage, now the kingdom also has come back to his father, and this is the epilogue, and now they are going to the palace, and they are going to rule there. So from the forest now, they are going to the capital, and Savitri is now riding there a high-roofed car, see, drawn by white manes upon a high-roofed car. In flare the unsteady torches went, with linked hands, Satyavan and Savitri. The high-roofed car, they are going to the palace. So that is the caravan car, high roofed car, see all those things. Very beautiful images and they are all connected together. See. In fact, in the Rigveda, there is a very beautiful description of chariot. He calls it Chandra Ratha. Chandra basically means moon chariot. But Chandra in Sanskrit means delight, happiness, joy, ecstasy. Chandratha, the chariot of happiness, of delight. It is that my soul is riding the chariot of delight. I am going in the chariot of delight. So it is in that chariot of delight, Chandraratha, that she is riding. It's a very beautiful phrase, Chandraratha, you see. It is not just the celestial moon, but Chandraratha has the aspect, Chandra has the aspect of delight, of Ananda. And it is in that chariot the Rishi is going to the worlds of immortality. Chandraratha. In fact, this Karvan car, I said golden car also, in the Mahabharata story of Savitri, she is going from place to place in a golden chariot. Golden chariot. That is what Vyasa describes, golden chariot. Golden chariot, Hema Ratha. Hema means gold. Hema Ratha, chariot is golden chariot. Means the whole thing must be Udan and all the thing aligned with gold panels and things like that, and she is moving full of royalty like that. Then down she came from her high Karvan car. Now, in other words, she is a celestial being. She is riding the chariot of delight there. She has now come down here upon earth. She is touching the earth, descending with a soft and faltering haste. She is soft and faltering. She is emotional. She is charmed. She is a young princess fallen in love, and therefore she is trembling. Faltering haste. Her many-hued raiment glistening in the light. So she is a rich girl having her raiment of many colors. She is a princess, royal princess. Of course, one of the hues must be the purple also, the sign of royalty, you see. So many hued. So one of them could be purple also, you see. Many hued raiment glistening in the light, delight, early morning delight, you see. Hovered a moment over a wind-stirred ground. So she's coming down and kind of hovering on that thing while she's coming down from the chariot. Because it is a high chariot. So she's coming down, descending slowly like that. Hovered a moment over a wind-stirred ground, mixed with a glimmer of her body's ray. This is pure romanticism. Yes, there is beautiful sunlight in the morning and all that thing. But that sunlight becomes more rich because of the beauty of Savitri. It is her beauty which is radiating all around, which is spreading all around. It is that light of her body which is getting mixed with the light of the morning. So she is adding the real substance to the sunlight or the physical world around her own body's light, mixed with a glimmer of her body's ray, like lovely plumage of a settling bird. So the bird is coming and settling down on its homing tree, like that. So she is coming down slowly like that, you see. Her gleaming feet upon the green gold sward. What a beautiful line. Her gleaming feet. He is describing her feet upon the green gold sward. The grassland is there around here. And her feet are gleaming, shining bright upon the green gold. So you can see the alliterations of G. Gleaming, green, gold. G alliteration is there. Then of course D, gold, sword. See the very beautiful line from that point of view. And metrically also you can say her gleaming is one. Gleaming feet upon the green gold sword. In other words, her gleam is an am, gleaming feet another am, upon third am, the green the fourth am, and gold sword. Both are stressed syllables, heavy syllable, spondy. So we have got basically here in this line up to here 4 ams, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And in the last feet is gold sword. It gives you the full thrust, full force of her coming down. Spondy comes out with the kind of force there. So poetic technique goes along with the description also there. Scattered memory of wandering beam. So she is scattering all that and lightly pressed the unspoken desire of earth. Earth was waiting for her Earth was expecting her. That was the desire of the earth. She should come and touch the earth. That was the unspoken desire of the earth, cherished in her too brief passing by the soil. She is coming here very for a short while, and she is cherishing her feet to come and sit down upon that thing. So that is how now she is descending from her chariot and coming down on the ground. See, this is a four-line sentence. Four-line sentence. Normally they are called a stanza. So it's a very powerful stanza, you see, and the whole thing is condensed poetically in an extremely sweet manner.